By the end of this video, you will understand what swing is, what pulse is, what pocket is, how to work on your time feel, and how to slide in between pockets to make your playing interesting in a variety of tempos and styles. Sounds good? Let's explore. The first concept that I'd like to explain and define is swing. Imagine any groove that's in 4/4 with a backbeat. That's the first scenario we're going to deal with. Now let's take a jazz ballad to start thinking about. Here's a groove. How do I feel this groove? Listen to the hi-hat. That's 2 and 4. What I want to do is turn my body into a big human mechanical metronome. Looks like this. This thing I'm doing is feeling the pulse like Umpty fucking Dumpty. Now, if you feel time like Umpty Dumpty, you're going to sound stupid. That's just feeling time without subdividing, meaning feeling the swing of the song without any pocket. A lot of the people who have educated you have used confusing and conflating words and language to describe swing. Like swung eighth notes means triplets with the middle one missing, right? Da, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da. But the people listen aren't swinging to your eighth notes. They're swinging their bodies from beat 1 to beat 2, beat 3 to beat 4. That's how backbeats work. Now, when I listen to a ballad like that, that's in 60 BPM, I need to think about time in octaves. In my mind, there are only 3 tempos to practice that stem from a certain BPM. This is 60 BPM, meaning a ballad is ch, 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 ch. A medium tune is if I take that feeling and I put it on one side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 120 BPM is around there. If I take that and put that on one side, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 240 BPM is right here. Right? That kind of feeling, it's all related. If you think about time in octaves, then you really don't have to practice that many tempos because 240 and 60 are basically rooted in the same place. You're drinking rhythmically from the same well, and you're practicing all these different time things that we're going to discuss next, coming and emerging from the same pulse. Oftentimes, when you play with shitty musicians, you notice that they have the Umpty Dumpty feel. Umpty Dumpty feel means that you listen to a tune. Let's take just Georgia on My Mind as an example. Georgia, Georgia. And then you catch your bassist kind of feeling time like this. Doom, boom, 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 beep, boom, 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 boom. Right? It's like the stupidest, oafiest, sad motherfucker feel that you can have. It makes me feel sorry for that person for choosing music as a way of life, right? So how do we not produce that time feel? Well, it's all about subdividing, feeling the little time units that connect beat 1 and beat 2, beat 3 and beat 4. Meaning, even if the audience can feel the music like Umpty Dumpty, right? Like the fat guy on the dance floor, you don't want to be that person. Good dancers feel things inside the rhythm. Now let's listen to this ballad. 1, 2. It's all starting from feeling the Umpty Dumpty feel, but you need to actually tell another story inside. There are different pockets hiding in every groove. The first one I call the AC/DC pocket, or when the levee breaks. It looks like this. When I play out of it, it allows me to make this statement in jazz that goes against the music. Think about Georgia again. I have this like, Wes Montgomery uses the AC/DC pocket quite a bit. I'm sure he was a big fan. Now, the next pocket is the triplet pocket, but there are actually many time fields that exist inside the triplet pocket. We're going to break down 3 of the main ones. The first one is called doo-wop. It's kind of like a Ray Charlesy feel. That's when you play all the triplets, right? Like now when I'm leaning into these pockets, it makes me play in a different way. It makes me feel time in a different way, meaning it changes my time feel, right? So inside the Humpty Dumpty, now it's elegant. It's doom do ga da da doom do ga da da doom do ga da da dum da da da. This time feel is really cool when it's done intentionally. When your swing band slides there on accident, it's a fucking nightmare, so be careful with that one. The next one is called the shuffle. You guys all know that. It's also triplet bass, but it sounds like this. Boom, boom, ka, boom, 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 ka. Boom, 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 ka, boom, 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 ka. Well, it's flooding down in Texas, right? Doom, doom. All the telephone lines are down. It changes how you play, right? So if I'm in a shuffly Georgia, it's very different. Like, you see how I'm kind of like playing rubato over it? Because that's how you play in that style. I'm not just trying to play the drum part, I'm playing how I would play over the drum part. That's the genius shit here, right? That's fucking cool. Now, the next one is called swing. Swing is when you take those triplets, but you're kind of leaning outside of the frame a little bit. You're like an all-knowing storyteller. Instead of being inside that triplet thing locked to a part, you're now just sort of choosing the triplets to sprinkle them in like a piano player or like the left hand of a snare drummer. So I have this ongoing motor of triplet in my mind. It's like, you know, set ta ta ka ta 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 in that Humpty Dumpty feel, but I'm just kind of syncopating, just telling a little improvised story with those triplets. So I'm gonna go bang, bang, do do ga, poo dee bo, ba 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 ba, boo da. Now let's check it out on Georgia. Cool pocket. Now let's explore a deeper concept. Here's where Wes Montgomery spent his career. This is the funk pocket. So if I feel this Humpty Dumpty feeling, I need to subdivide it to 16th notes. Hum a funk melody. Ba tu tu ka, tu 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 ka. Bu da 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 do 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 da dee bu dinch. Bu da da da. Now that's not just a backbeat with 16th notes. It's how you put the accents on the hi-hat. What makes it funky is how these 16th notes kind of like are syncopated and are in the cracks of time, the accent pattern. So you get this chit, cat, kitty, tit, tit, cat, kitty, cat, cat. Now, if I start applying that to Georgia, you'll notice what happens. If you listen to Wes Montgomery playing on Days of Wine and Roses, you'll hear this feeling all over the music. So, ba da do ka do 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 da di bu da bu de do do. So I'm just coming up with ideas in a funky groove, but I'm layering it over top of that ballad feeling, right? So I have this I can lean into other subdivisions as long as I'm feeling them over the pretend funk groove. That's the idea. Cool. Now let's explore the next pocket. It's called the sextuplet pocket. Now this is where purdy shuffles come from. You have that slow backbeat, but it's divided into 6 on each side. A lot of like Yellow Jackets and fusion comes from there. Also, this is where the African vibe comes from. You have the doom doom doo doo doom ga dee doo ding doom doo doo ga doo doo dam doom doom doo doo dum da dee do bam bam doo doo ga. So let's explore some African Georgia. Now the next pocket we want to talk about is the fusion pocket. That's keeping that halftime feel, but dividing into 30-second notes. It's also in a lot of metal music. So, do 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 ga, jigga digga jigga 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 ga, jigga dagga dinny dugga dinny dugga digga digga dugga digga 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 ga. Sugar duga 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 gaga duga 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 jaga duga 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 gaga duga 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 do 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 ga do 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 ga do 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 ga. So that's what Metheny and Schofield and people like that do to sound relaxed while they play fast over a slow groove. Now, the next thing we're going to study is called double time. Now, double time feel has to do with taking all the beats that we felt in the Humpty Dumpty mode and putting them on one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, right, 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 right. And now I'm creating the off beats like they're pretend up beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Now that's going to give you nausea if you do that fast movement. So you got to shrink your metronome. Don't make it wide. Just put it in your shoulders. Right? Now it's a jog. I'm no longer sleepy. So when I go and do the AC/DC pocket from this place, it's called the Latin field. Boom, ba bang, Ba-bum, 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 pat, cat, 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 right there. That kind of feel of the straight eights. Now on that ballad, you see how straight it is? Those are 16th notes, but they don't feel funky anymore. There's 16 notes on that ballad, but they're eighth notes in double time, which is a whole other ballgame. So the next pocket in double time are the double time triplets. Before we had the Purdy Shuffle, but now we have Pride and Joy, right? It's 1, 2, 3. She my sweet little baby. She my pride and joy. She my sweet little baby. I'm her little lover boy. Georgia. That's really leaning into the triplets, but now pretend that it's just a shuffle that fast and I play the way I shuffle on it. So I have... So the fast shuffle, you still play bluesy on it. Right? That kind of thing. Now the last time feel is the thing that blows everybody's brain. It's the Pat Martino, the George Benson, the blazing fast energetic feel. The Charlie Parker, it's the double time swing. Double time swing is actually double time funk. So if I feel that double time backbeat, but I make it funky, boom, ga, do 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 ga, do ga, do 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 ga, do ga, do 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 ga, do 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 ga da da da. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a great soloist can lead the band to any of these places, and a great drummer can keep the contrast without having to Mickey Mouse after the soloist. The worst feeling is when your band reads that you are transferring to a different pocket, leaning there, and they all go with you. The whole point of this thing is contrast, meaning you stay in your lane, and I'm gonna create this excitement against it. The last thing I wanna talk about today is 2 and 4 on the metronome. A lot of people really recommend that you practice with the metronome just being on 2 and 4, and it's a good idea, but you have to understand why you do it. The whole concept of practicing time with a metronome is turning the metronome into a projector screen where you project your feeling of groove and pocket onto that click. Now, when the metronome takes on the role of a hi-hat or a snare drum, that's very easy to do, but I'll teach you a great technique. Take a metronome that has a tep tempo and put it in your left hand. And now pretend that you're a drummer and have your finger over the tap tempo. And let's take like a John Mayer song that's pretty hard to play that slow in time if you just hear the click. But check out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go gravity, tap, tap, to gravity, to tap, to tap, to tap, This is 20 BPM. But I'm locked. If you visualize the beat like a little dart center, like a bullseye that you're shooting a dart to, you'll never get it. But the beat needs to be a fucking orb, right? It's like gravity. So everything is kind of driving to that point. Now that's a really challenging tempo, but if you do it with just a funk tune, it's pretty easy. But tap right? So that's how you practice and understand time. Now, disclaimer, a lot of odd meters are lopsided rhythms, meaning you don't swing evenly, but everything swings side to side. So the feeling of, let's say, a waltz, which is the simplest odd meter, is one chick, chick, one chick, chick, one chick, chick, right? You have one on one side, two on the other, two backbeats. A lot of sevens have this asymmetrical, lopsided groove to them, right? One, two, catch it, catch it, catch, 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 right, left, right, left, or but to catch it, to catch, catch it, to catch, catch it. That's like 6 divided 2 and 4. You can have 5. That's like 1 to catch it, to catch, catch, catch it, to catch it, to catch, 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 like Mission Impossible. Doom, doom, gum, 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 gum. You can feel it in a variety of ways, but you always have to understand the swing of something. But the pocket is that invisible thing that connects it from subdividing and understanding the feeling of the grooves. I hope that this was eye-opening. I know it was. We're going to have transcriptions of all this stuff on our Patreon. The Patreon is the place to be. Please join us there. It's a thriving community. Literally, over 1,500 members. It's banging. Come join us. Also, subscribe, hit the like button, the share, all that stuff, the comment section, and we'll see you next time.